Alright guys, how you doing? Thanks for clicking on the video. Welcome back to Craft, my learning bushcraft channel, where I spend some time trying to improve my bushcraft skills through camping, hiking and spending time outside. Today we're going to do the second video in my learning from Ray Mears kind of basic forest skills playlist. The first time we talked about tarp setup, and I found a new way to set up my main ridgeline, which is really cool. Today we're going to look at knife skills. So being able to use your knife properly and correctly is probably the most fundamental skill in bushcraft, and my current knife skills certainly need some improvement. So we're going to use the book. We're going to go through the different type of grips and cuts and stuff that they mention. We're going to have a go at some of it. There's some stuff in there I think about battening and sharpening your knife in the field as well, which is something that I definitely need to get better at. My knife I don't think is particularly sharp, so hopefully there's some good stuff in there that we can use to really put a fine edge on my knife. So my knife, in case you're interested, is this, which I have shown you before. I have the Mora Bushcraft Black. It's actually a really good knife. I bought it because I saw it being recommended by a Canadian YouTuber called Joe Robinette, who is one of my absolute favourites. It's got a nice square bit on the top of the blade there to help strike a fire steel, and while it's not the most aesthetically pleasing knife in the world, it is full tang, so it's one nice complete bit of metal, so it's actually really good for battening and stuff like that. It's got a nice rubbery grip, so it's not going to slip out of my hand, and it's in general really good knife. Made in Sweden by a company called Mora Niv. I just call it a Mora because I don't know how to pronounce the name properly, and I don't want to insult anybody. So Mora Bushcraft Black, really good knife, really good fun, and I'm really looking forward to learning how to use it properly. So with that in mind, let's get on with it. The book says the knife is the most fundamental tool for forest living, essential for safety and survival, as well as craft and daily work. So much so that it's inconceivable to be without one when travelling in the forest. It must, however, be kept sharp and handled with care to prevent injury. With experience, it becomes an extension of your hand, enabling the swift achievement of simple tasks or the manufacture of beautiful objects. I don't know how beautiful any of the objects that I might end up creating are going to be. There is some stuff in here actually about like whittling spoons and stuff later on, which I'm going to need a lot of practice before I attempt to do that. But I don't know, maybe at some point in the future we'll make a video about whittling spoons once I know what I'm doing. So with that in mind, it just talks here very quickly about how to pass a knife safely. Apparently there's a very old saying which says, "Lend a knife, lose a friend." Which refers apparently to the possibility of the knife being returned damaged in some way and being annoyed with the person that did it. But it does say that inevitably at some point you're going to have to pass your knife to somebody else when you're out and about in a group. So the only safe way to do it is to pass it like so. So you're giving the handle to the person first, with apparently the sharp bit of your blade pointing up, which is the safe way to do it. So that's good to know. I would have imagined that was fairly common sense, not to hand the sharp bit to another person, but you never know, some people need a little bit of help with that kind of thing. So there you go. So if you are ever going to pass a knife to somebody, do it the way I just showed you. Okay, so the next bit in the book is all about how to sharpen a knife, and as I said before, I don't think my knife is particularly sharp. And since the knife needs to be sharp in order to work properly, obviously the sharper the knife is, the easier it is to use, and can become a joy apparently. So let's have a look at the way they suggest that we do a field sharpening. I'll zoom in on the book so you can see kind of what it says, and then I'll have a go at it and see if we can actually get a good edge on my knife. So yeah, give me 2 secs and I'll show you the book. As you can see, this is all about creating like a stable platform to put your sharpening stone in through using a sapling, piece of live wood, that you carve a kind of a ledge in, pop your sharpening stone in so it's nice and secure, and then use that while you're kneeling down in a safe and secure position. I would imagine that the end of the sapling is stuck into the ground, so it's not going to move, and then sharpen your blade on the stone using a forwards and backwards motion. Okay, so I actually have a sapling here, so let's see if we can carve it up and have a crack. So this is my sapling that we're going to use. Book says place the stone 1/3 of the way along the depth of the stick, cut 2 notches around 1/2 inch deep either side of the stone so that the distance between them is exactly the same as the length of the stone. Okay, so the stone I'm using is the Niven DC4, which I've mentioned or shown to you before. It's a really great stone. It's got a diamond side here, which is really good for apparently getting out any big notches, or if your knife is particularly blunt, and then a ceramic side on here. So we're going to try and use both today, I think. But let's just measure this up first. So the idea apparently is that the sapling should be about the same width or a little bit narrower than your stone, which hopefully you can see mine is. It's a bit narrower. So said 1/3 of the way down the stick, so 1/3 of the way down the sapling, so that's probably about right. I'm going to try and avoid these notches actually if I can. Don't know if that'll make any difference, but that seems like a good idea to me. Okay, so I'll place it there. I'll just make a indentation there and an indentation there, so that hopefully I can tell where there. Brilliant, where that is. Okay, and now putting safety gloves on. Okay, so I need to make this a bit deeper. So what I might do actually is put that there, get another stick, bash it down a bit. You see, that's a dodgy bit of stick, but there we go. And then do the same on the other side. And then that'll need to be deeper. Cut out the wood between the notches to form a depression. Okay. Make sure I don't lose my depression. Wow, this is surprisingly hard work. Oh. Now I'm going to turn the stick around and have a go at that side. So you can see I'm not really very good at this. I think I need to get my notch in there a bit more. At the moment it's all kind of, come here batten, it's all kind of spilling out, so let's see if that does anything. Oh, there we go, a little bit better. Let's see, have we done a half decent job? Hey, tell you what, look at that! That's not bad at all. It's probably a little bit loose, to be honest. A little tiny bit loose. May have done a little bit too much. Haven't quite got it flush against there, but it seems relatively stable, so so we'll carry on. So that's pushed in there, so depending upon the type of stone you're using, add water or the recommended lubricant, which I don't need. Using a backward and forwards action, sharpen both sides of the blade as necessary. If you have a combination stone, repeat the process with the final fine side of the stone. Okay, cool, so let me just move this out of the way. And then rest that on my person. Oh god, I'm covered in mud. Oh no, my Joe hoodie. Should have thought about this a bit more with what I was wearing. Okay, so I've got my knife. And then forwards and backwards action, sharpen both sides of the blade as necessary. Okay, so finding the bevel. Lifting up slightly where it comes to a point. Seems to be working. I'm really happy that the stone's staying in place. That was my biggest concern. And then both sides. So I'm doing the same thing then on this side. Again, finding the bevel, and then oops, see a little slip there, but it's not too bad. So it's almost like you're trying to, I think, almost shave bits of the stone off, I think is the idea. Is it making a difference? Seems to be a fair amount coming off the knife, which is good, I think. I mean, I guess a huge part of this is just experience, and the more you do it, the easier this stuff becomes, but as this is the first time I've ever done this, I don't know. Ooh, that does feel a little bit sharper, particularly there. I think this bit of my blade actually needs a little bit more work, so let's see if we can get that bit done properly. A bit of pressure. I mean, I guess the idea is you've got to make sure that you do all of it evenly and on both sides. Okay, so that was the diamond side, so let's flip it over and do the ceramic side, which I think in theory puts a fine edge on and lets it hold it better. So you use the same technique.
Really carefully so that I don't slip and cut myself. And do the other side as well.
Let's give this a go. Oh, I like that though. Success! Now that the knife's nice and sharp, we'll use the book here to have a look at a few of the grips. So as you can see, some of them are really simple, like the forward grip, which is the main way in which anybody's going to use a knife. The reverse grip, which is used less because it's obviously a little bit dangerous because the sharp bit of the blade is pointing towards your face. So used sparingly. I think probably most of the time that's used to cut paracord. I think it actually even says that in the book. We're making a powerful cut. The tree hand always grasps the wood behind the knife, with the cut being made away from the body, which makes perfect sense, so I'll have a go at that in a minute. The chest lever grip looks quite interesting, pressed against you with lots of control using your thumbs and then using your chest to actually make the cut. Forward reinforced grip, okay, yeah, so you can see his thumbs are his right and left hand on the knife to get a lot more control, so we'll try that. And the reverse is kind of the same, but using his fingers there to ensure that there's lots of control. And you can see his entire fist is gripping the knife there when doing the reverse one, because obviously it's coming back towards you, so you need to be quite careful. All right, let's have a quick go at those. There's a cut in the book called the chest lever grip, which I'm not entirely sure I understand, but I think it's something like this. So you've got your thumbs on the knife so it's nice and controlled, and then you use your chest to expand and kind of make a cut, which does seem to be quite powerful, but I'm not entirely sure what you would use it for, and I'm really absolutely sure I'm not doing it right, so maybe I'll have to look into that and watch a YouTube video. But it kind of, yeah, I guess I kind of get it. There's a bit of power in there. I think there are probably simpler ways to use it, and I'm not sure why you would use that particular cut, but it says it in the book, so it must be useful. The next grip in the book is the reinforced forward grip, which is, I think is quite similar to the chest thing, in that it's slow and steady, and you're utilising your non-knife wielding thumb here to really help control the blade. So it's very much a case of it's slow and steady. You can see I've got my right thumb, so the one that's got hold of the knife, on the top of the blade there, and then my left hand, my thumb is on top of the blade there as well. So it's a really slow and steady and controlled action. Pushing with your left thumb gives you loads of control and makes life very, very easy. So that's a really, really good one to use, nice and slow and steady, and I imagine would be really useful when you're carving spoons or ladles or doing things like that. The opposite, which is the last grip in the book, is the reinforced reverse cut, which essentially is sort of the same thing. So it's all about control, particularly in this one because you're coming towards yourself. So in this case you're using the fingers on your left hand, in this case my left hand because I'm right-handed, on the top of the blade there again, if you can see that. So it's a really slow and steady, using that to push, so you've got lots and lots of control and you don't risk any sort of sudden movements jerking towards your face. Whenever you're doing anything reverse, obviously please be very, 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 very careful because you don't want to hurt yourself in any way. So the reinforced grip is a really, really good way to maintain control. Next up in the book, we've got various different cuts that we can do on sticks and stuff in order to either shave them or break them or notch them, put points in them if you wanted to make a peg to stick in the ground and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna have a look through the book. I've got a few sticks here, so we're just gonna have a play and try out some of these methods. So the first one is the simplest way to cut a stick to length is with many small cuts around the circumference so as to narrow the thickness, which makes a lot of sense. So I've got a stick here, I've got a knife. Once you've done lots of little cuts, I'm assuming it's kind of both ways to kind of create a sort of a V. You can then just break the stick. So let's give that a go. So I'm going to make lots of little cuts. Notice I'm using the reinforced forward grip to make lots of small little cuts around the circumference. Don't actually necessarily think I need to go the other way. I'm fairly sure that if I just do this, I'll be able to break the stick really easily. So I'm just doing lots of reinforced ones, really, really simply, just narrowing the circumference as you can see there, hopefully. Can you see that? I get rid of those bits. You can see all I've done is make loads of little cuts around it so that it's narrowing it, and then should, in theory, be able to really easily break the stick. Just like that. Perfect, that was really, really easy. A little bit time consuming, but a really simple way to do it, which is cool. Okay, that was fun. What's next? The shaving cut. Oh, okay, so this was something, I don't know if you guys saw one of my other videos when I first sort of came outside and started a fire and set up a tarp. I tried to do some shaving stuff which didn't work particularly well. Maybe it was because my knife wasn't sharp enough, I'm not sure, so we'll try this. The shaving cut, I'll tell you what, I should face the camera really, shouldn't I, so you can actually hear me. The shaving cut relies upon the hand to control the cutting angle, while the power is generated using either the back and a straight arm, or, once the cutter is more experienced, the arm muscles. The cut is best when a thin shaving is removed, and astonishing control can be achieved once it's mastered. Okay, so there isn't actually a huge amount about how to do that, but according to the picture, it looks quite simple. So let's get another bit of wood. Let's use this one, shall we? And we'll have a go. So it seems, what was he saying? A straight arm. Okay, so a straight arm and my back. Oh wow, okay. Maybe bite a little bit more. Maybe I did that too much. Okay. I guess the thing I'm finding at the moment is that my shavings aren't particularly long, but yeah, it really is the control on the angle that's the issue here. As you can see, I'm kind of struggling to get the right one. Yeah, because I've cut a notch in it there now, which is a shame. Let's turn it over, shall we? See if that makes any difference. So I've got quite a high grip on my knife there. Hopefully you can see that. Give me more control. Tell you what, if I put it in the ground, use my back. So I'm keeping my arm straight and trying to control the angle, which does seem to work. Just need a lot more practice. But I'm not going to just do this for hours and make you watch it, so I might turn the camera off for a bit and keep doing this for a while. Right, we've had some fun shaving. The next thing I'm going to do is try and point one of these sticks, which according to the book you should be able to do in 3 cuts. I kind of doubt that I'm going to be able to do that, but we'll have a go anyway. So this, you're supposed to use a power cut. So power cut is you are holding the wood behind your knife in your left hand, in my case my left hand, and then you can generate a lot of power moving forwards. Now this is a relatively thick stick, so I don't know how this is going to work, but we'll give it a go. Perhaps let's try a thinner stick for a greater chance of success. Okay, so towards the end, left stand there. 1, 2, 3. Not quite. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One more, make it even. 10. So it is possible. Sticks in the ground nicely. That again is very, very easy. Just a really simple power cut. Nothing fancy about it. Just takes a little bit of time, particularly if your knife's sharp. As you can see, nice and easy, and you can make it kind of as sharp as you want. So that kind of works really well. So that's easy, like that one, nice and simple. The last thing that we're going to do today is use our knife to split a few sticks that you might want to do this in if you're ever starting a fire out in the bush. It's a good way to get to the dry wood that's really at the centre of the sticks. That kind of wood also makes for better shavings and things like that as well if you're starting a fire. So to do this, it's actually really easy. I would always rest on a solid log if you can. Pop the stick that you're going to split on the log, try and find the natural check in the wood, and then basically all you're doing is popping your knife at the top. Give it a few taps with your hand gently just to secure it in place, just that it doesn't go anywhere. And then this is called battening. You get a slightly bigger stick like this, and basically you just bash the top of the knife to drive it through the wood. It's really, really simple, just like that. You do it a few times, so that, as I say, you can find the best kind of the best driest wood in the centre of the stick itself. That one didn't go well, but you get the idea anyway. So it's a really, really simple tool simple trick, using the batten to use the knife itself. That will only work if you've got a full kind of tang blade, not one of the folding ones. If you try and do it with one of the folding knives, the likelihood is the lock will come undone and the blade will fold, and you'll really struggle to split wood. So that's why if you're going to get a bushcraft knife, I'd always suggest you get one that's one solid piece. I think it's called full tang, but I'm not really certain. Yeah, that's what I would do anyway, which is what I have done. I used to have a folding one, as I showed you. I used to have a Bear Grylls Gerber knife, which was great, but every time I tried to batten with it, it would fold up. So I got this one instead, which is much better for this kind of thing. There you go. So I think this wood that I'm using is kind of punky, but you get the idea. If you've got proper good dead standing hardwoods, they split a lot more easily. There we go. See what I mean? All right. Perfect. Well, I think that's going to be it from me today, guys. Thank you very, very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. I certainly did. This thing with the sapling and creating almost a vise to put your sharpening stone in the field was really cool. Never done that before, so that was pretty awesome to learn. Same with all the various grips and stuff. I still don't really understand the chest grip thing, so if anybody has any ideas when you might use such a technique, if you could let me know, that'd be awesome. I mean, I'll do some research into it and see if I can find out when you might use it, but you know, as I said, it's in the book, so if Ray Mears thinks it's important, it must be useful in some way. So next up, I think we'll carry on with the basic forest skills playlist that I am currently creating, based on the book. I don't actually know what's next, so let's have a look. My guess is, if we've just done knife work, it's probably likely to be another cutting tool. Probably an axe would make sense. Knives. Yeah, axe work. So there's stuff in here about how to sharpen it, splitting down firewood, splitting wood for a stove, classic splitting, that looks quite fun. Limbing, truncating a thick log, cool. Yes, there's loads of stuff in here that we'll get to have a play with. There's loads of bigger trees and stuff, felled trees around here that I can certainly hack up with the axe as I try and figure out how to use it properly. So that'd be really cool. So stay tuned for that one. Thank you very much for watching. If you're new here and you enjoy this kind of stuff, please feel free to subscribe if you want to, and share it with somebody else that you think might like this channel. So thank you very much, guys. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out. Oh.